Happy Friday, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name's Kyle. Tonight, Friday evening, September 8th, we just had that crazy Chiefs-Lions game where the Lions upset the Chiefs at Kansas City, which was pretty impressive. What we're going to do in this video, I'm going to try and keep it maybe 12 to 15 minutes. I'm just going to go over the relevant player injury news and practice reports that we need to know about going into the weekend. Now, I do plan on doing a live stream Saturday morning. We're going to be doing a player prop show with my good friend Jesse. I don't want to get any start-sit questions in that. It's purely props in that show. Sunday morning, though, the live show, I'm starting live 10 a.m. Central Time. We'll go live, and I'll answer as many questions as you guys got about your lineups. But for now, let's hop right into this screen share. Let's get it going. And I'm going to start with some of the major injury news that came out today. Let me just refresh this, make sure we're up to date. And basically, yeah, we just got to go through because a lot of hamstrings going on right now. Too many hamstrings going on right now as Darren Waller listed as questionable, some hamstring tightness late this week, and that he was moving well in Friday's practice. I think overall, I'm not too concerned about Darren Waller's availability. I think he's going to play because they do play late Sunday night. If he's a late game scratch, I think you can easily go ahead and add, move Waller to your IR, play Daniel Bellinger. It's simple. Or if you want to punt it and pick up Dawson Knox or pick up Tyler Conklin for the Monday night game, I think those are the easy switches for Darren Waller. I think he's going to play. Otherwise, the other easy pivot would be Jake Ferguson for the Cowboys. Get a guy in that Sunday night game, another tight end. So Bellinger, Ferguson, or the Monday night guys, Knox and Conklin should be available. But I think he's going to play. I wouldn't worry too much about Darren Waller. Ogunbowale, questionable. Marlon Humphrey ruled out with a foot injury against the Texans. No Jimmy Ward for the Texans as well. No John Mechie in this one. I don't think we're starting any Texans receivers, but we shall see. We're seeing Devontae Parker questionable. I'm not sure what's going on here. I think a sneaky guy to watch for the future waiver wires is going to be Kendrick Bourne. I don't trust Juju Smith-Schuster. I don't trust Devontae Parker. Maybe Kendrick Bourne leads this team in targets week 1 against the Eagles. Congrats to Graham Gano. Big money deal for a kicker. Now, Ramondre Stevenson was listed as questionable today. He missed with an illness, reportedly a stomach bug. I don't think he's in jeopardy of missing Sunday against the Eagles, but we'll monitor this. We'll check back in on him on Sunday morning, but I think he's going to be okay. Let's go ahead and load some more here. No Chandler Jones for the Raiders. Now, Jerry Jeudy listed as questionable. Let's look at his practice report. And this is RotoWire's practice report. It's my favorite one because you can kind of see all the days here. There's a link in the description if you guys want to check it out. But my week 1 start sit charts do have all the relevant links that I like to look at. So link to practice reports right there. But Jerry Jeudy, man, limited. It looks like he's going to play. I don't know if I feel great about starting him. I'm sure that's going to be one of my more popular start sit questions on Sunday morning. I think right now, just without knowing anyone's start-sit question, I'm going to lean towards not playing Jerry Jeudy. I want to see what he looks like. I want to see also what the Broncos offense looks like. There's a ton of questions about that. Not only do we don't know what Jerry Jeudy's going to do for his participation, we also don't know what the running backs are going to look like. So I have the Broncos question, the whole offense, I have a huge question mark. I think Courtland Sutton's probably the only guy that I would be okay with starting from the Denver Broncos. No Kenny McIntosh for the Seahawks. Tyron Smith questionable. Hopefully he can go for the Cowboys. Odell Beckham popped up with an ankle yesterday, but he's been removed, so it looks like all 3 of the top receivers for Baltimore are good to go. He's going to play. Seahawks, Devin Witherspoon questionable for week 1. That would suck if he can't go. Now, Mark Andrews is interesting. He's been listed as questionable all week, so I'm be mindful of this one because limited Friday. He's got a quad injury. Now, if you have an open roster spot and say you did have Mark Andrews or say you're weak at tight end, I think Isaiah Likely might be a guy worth stashing because if Mark Andrews pops up with another injury at some point this year, we're all going to want Isaiah Likely on our team. So it's not a bad idea to get ahead of this potential injury. It's a quad injury. Again, he's limited, but if he goes out and gets hurt Sunday, we're all going to be talking about Isaiah Likely on the waiver wire. So keep tabs on Mark Andrews. I think he's going to play. If he plays, you're going to play him. So it's a good matchup against Houston. But yeah, Isaiah Likely might be the guy that is worth stashing over the weekend if you need somebody. Good news for Kenneth Walker. He's not listed on the final injury report. He's going to play against the Rams here. I was watching that one because it was kind of a surprise that I think he was a DNP yesterday. Let me double check that for you. Yesterday he was limited. Today he's limited, but no injury designation. So I think they're just being he's going to be their bulldozer all season. They're just being cautious with him. I don't really think Kenneth Walker needs to practice much throughout the week. So looks like he's good to go. Good news for Kay Walker. Tyler Smith, left guard, doubtful for the Cowboys, which could be interesting. Teron Armstead also already ruled out against the Chargers here. So a lot of offensive linemen missing time here. And George Kittle, man, we have to watch for this one. He apparently had a setback in one of the preseason games. He's questionable for week one's matchup against the Steelers. I believe he logged limiteds all week here. So he's probably going to play, but maybe he's on a snap count restriction. I think if you drafted George Kittle, you're probably playing him. He was limited all week with this groin injury. I think if you have Kittle, you're probably going to play him. But I wouldn't be opposed to making sure you have a good backup tight end just in case this injury, rears its ugly head at some point this season. Nick Bosa, good to go. Congrats on the new deal. Great news here. I love to see this one. Treylon Burks was finally removed from the injury report and he's going to play. So he's 100%, maybe not 100%, whatever. But it looks like that knee injury that he suffered in practice, not going to be an issue. I expect Treylon Burks to be out there a lot as the number 2 receiver for the Titans. It's a tougher matchup against the Saints, but if Marshawn Lattimore is drawing DeAndre Hopkins, maybe Treylon Burks can take advantage of his assignment, and he's more of like a deep wide receiver 3 flex, so maybe I'll get some Burks questions on Sunday, but I do like the matchup for Burks. This weekend here, Juan Thornhill questionable. Now, Zach Moss, man, I do not know what's going on with the Indianapolis Colts backfield. They have Deion Jackson, Evan Hall, and now Zach Moss, man, with the broken arm, limited. He's got a chance to play week 1. So if you want to stash somebody for the weekend, I don't hate stashing Zach Moss. I think he's the starting running back when healthy. Evan Hall and Deion Jackson are just kind of, committee backs that would pitch in if Moss can't go. And even if Moss plays, like we're going to see a 3-man backfield here. I'm not recommending starting any Colts back until we see some games and get some data on what's going on here. But I do think Zach Moss is worth noting and potentially stashing over the weekend. And before I get any further, if you're new to my show, that's one thing that I do pretty well is I like to add a player before Sunday that is I like to think, could this player be a top waiver wire add next week? Because that's a guy that I want to be ahead on. I want to be a week ahead of the waivers. I want to have this guy on my bench, like Isaiah Likely, like Zach Moss. We'll probably talk about some other guys, throughout the rest of the show here, but you want to be ahead on these guys. Now, I don't think Zach Ertz is going to play. He was limited all week here, but he's coming back from a serious multi-ligament knee injury. They don't need him to play week 1. This team's going to win 3 or 4 games. I actually think Zach Ertz might be traded at some point this season. So I would be surprised if he plays. Keep an eye on Trey McBride. He might be the starting tight end for the season. Marquise Brown, questionable heading into this one. Not sure what's going on with Marquise Brown. I know he's probably not happy about what the team's got going on, but he's limited in 3 days with a hamstring injury. So if you have Marquise Brown, hopefully you have someone better than him. I'd probably play like Cortland Sutton or something like that in that range. I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of Marquise Brown questions on Sunday. Mike Evans, man, this is going to be something that I think we talk about a lot this season. No plans from the Bucs to extend him. He wants an extension. He wants to retire a Buccaneer. Nothing from the Bucs though, and his deadline's tomorrow. So maybe we see something tomorrow. Maybe we see Mike Evans traded to Kansas City. I don't know, but we'll see what happens here. But Mike Evans, no long-term deal in sight here. Now this one, Kendre Miller not practicing today. He did not practice all week, so usually when a player doesn't practice all week, I'm going to say they're not going to play. Now, what's curious, though, is the other guys that didn't practice all week, they ruled out. Traquan Smith and JT Gray, the safety here, but Kendre Miller didn't practice Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, and he's questionable with a hamstring. So we'll see. He might be like an emergency play. I don't think they would want to whip him out there if he does have a serious hamstring injury, but I'm stashing Kendre Miller in my league. I'm hoping he just doesn't play this weekend. I don't want him to get an aggravated hamstring or knee or anything like that. So I'm hoping he gets labeled out. We can move him to our IR and then go add these guys that I'm talking about. Zach Moss, Isaiah Likely, go add some of these players that are potentially waiver wire targets in future weeks. Stetson Bennett. This one was weird because he said Bennett and another guy in Cooper Kupp, Hunter Long, that's who, the other tight end. So these guys could be placed on injury reserve. Now, the big news of the day was Christian Watson. He's not playing, which was pretty surprising. Like, this came kind of out of nowhere. When he missed Wednesday, everyone was kind of like, uh-oh. but did not practice all week, Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. Romeo Dobbs didn't practice Wednesday, but he got limited practices in Thursday and Friday. It looks like he's on track to play, and I think I feel good about Dobbs playing. If you want to play Romeo Dobbs, I think I'd rather play Romeo Dobbs than Marquise Brown. That's probably where we're at with Marquise Brown. But Romeo Dobbs, if he is the number one receiver on the team, I am open to Romeo. But otherwise, go to your waiver wires, check and see if Jayden Reed is available, because I think we are looking at the injury seal's broken on Christian Watson. A hamstring sucks. He might be out weeks 2 and 3. We don't know the severity of the hamstring injury. We'll see when he can practice again. But if week 1, Jayden Reed comes out and gets 6 catches on 8 targets for 72 yards and a touchdown, I'm not going to be surprised. Jayden Reed's really good. He's the starting slot receiver. And if Christian Watson's not out there, Romeo Dobbs is, dealing with a bum hamstring, we're probably going to see Jayden Reed come out and lead this team in snaps and be the wide receiver 1 this week. And if he can continue that momentum into the season, good things are going to happen with Jayden Reed. So go check Jayden Reed on your waiver wire. I want to add Jayden Reed. If you guys have questions on who you should drop, like Jayden Reed's a priority add right now that we have a hamstring for Christian Watson. I think Cooper Kupp was a landmine. I wasn't telling anybody to draft Cooper Kupp all summer. So hopefully if you're watching this, guys, and you watch my stuff this summer, we didn't draft Cooper Kupp, but I think he's going to be on IR. I think he's missing the first month of football. They need to do it like today so he doesn't miss a 5th week. But let's keep it moving here. Wan'Dale Robinson listed as doubtful. Marcus Davenport, edge rusher for the Vikings, doubtful. We've already covered the Darren Waller injury. T. Higgins contract, we'll see about that. It sounds like they're not close, though. Terrace Marshall removed from the week 1 injury report with some good news there. He's going to play, but they did rule out DJ Chark and Adam Thielen, who missed practice, I believe, yesterday. Let's look at the Carolinas report. Thielen missed practice yesterday, practiced Wednesday, and was back today. So he's on track to play. I don't think he's a good start, but with DJ Chark out, I'd rather play Adam Thielen than Marquise Brown at this point. So if that's where you are, that's where you are. But looks like the top receivers for the Panthers, week 1 for Bryce Young, Thielen, Mingo, and Terrace Marshall Jr. and a healthy Laviska Shenault. But again, hopefully we're not using any of those guys here. It's looking like Romeo Dobbs, again, practice on Friday. He's an interesting start. Thielen practice today. Miles Sanders said the team hopes to mix it up when it comes to distributing running back touches. Reich also noted that Sanders is expected to be the main guy, but it wouldn't be surprising to see Chuba Hubbard or Raheem Blackshear mix in occasional touches. Blackshear mentioned as a potential 3rd down option by the Athletics' Joseph Person earlier this summer, but little has been revealed by the team on how touches. So I'm watching this one. I personally, I don't like Miles Sanders that much for fantasy. If you had to, again, if say you had an opening roster spot, first go look and see if Jayden Reed's there, but Chuba Hubbard, a backup worth putting on your bench for the weekend. If Miles Sanders goes down, boom, we got Chuba, Zach Moss, Isaiah Likely. There's other guys here that I'm very interested in keeping on my bench. Again, DJ Chark not playing this week. Keyshawn Vaughn was pretty pissed. He got demoted to backup duties here. Sean Tucker is the RB2 in Tampa Bay. And I think we're pretty much good to go on all these. Cordero Patterson's questionable, but we don't have Cordero Patterson on our fantasy teams. I wouldn't recommend it. Good news for Terry McLaurin, man. He's back. He's removed from the team's injury report and will play in week 1. Now, I don't personally think he's 100% healthy with that toe. I think he's going to be, 80 to 90% himself. Maybe he's not able to push off with that foot as well as he would like. Maybe he's not able to run some certain routes as well as he could have normally. But I do think Terry McLaurin's in your fantasy lineup. And I also think Jahan Dotson's in your fantasy lineup because the Cardinals defense, man, it's going to be a long year for Cardinals fans. There's the Stevenson not practicing. Joe Burrow got a bag of money yesterday. He's going to start. Good to go. Shout out to Mike Williams, man. He's on life support from construction accident. Not big Mike Williams from the Chargers, but former Buccaneer and Bill and Chief Mike Williams. I used to love Mike Williams in fantasy. And then we get into last night's game. So that's pretty much the practice reports, guys. I'm just going to rifle through all of these real quick one more time and make sure we got everything covered here. So the Cardinals look good. Marquise Brown and Zach Ertz we have to monitor. The Falcons look pretty good. Everybody that we care about for fantasy is good to go. Jeff Okudah is ruled out. We're going to watch Mark Andrews on Baltimore. I think Odell Beckham's looking good to go as well. He's got a full practice in today. Buffalo, we'll get more news on Buffalo tomorrow as they play Monday Night Football. Panthers, again, DJ Chark is out. Terrace Marshall in, and Adam Thielen's truly questionable, but I think he's going to play. Chicago looks pretty good here. Nothing for fantasy that we need to monitor. The Bengals look pretty good as well. Tyler Boyd, I don't know why he's on the report here, but he got full practices in. Joe Burrow starting, like to see it. The Cleveland Browns, I think they're good to go as well. Amari Cooper didn't practice. He took the day off on Wednesday, full Thursday, full Friday. Good to go here for the offense in Cleveland. Dallas, listing the starting left guard. Doubtful is a concern. Tyron Smith is questionable, so the offensive line might not be full strength, but otherwise the offensive skill players look healthy. Denver, it's all about Jerry Jeudy. We'll see about that's pretty much it. Jerry Jeudy's the only one we're watching on Denver. Green Bay, we already know Christian Watson not playing. We'll watch for Romeo Doubs. Hopefully Doubs can play. The Texans, I think they're good to go. John Mechie's out and Jimmy Ward, the safety's out. For the Colts, I think they're in good shape. We're just watching for Zach Moss. The Jags, I think, are pretty good healthy. Yeah, they got nobody on offense that's dinged up. The Chargers, I believe, are also, the Chargers offense is finally healthy. The Rams, obviously, it's a Cooper Kupp thing. He's not playing. Van Jefferson got the day off today, so he's their lead receiver, and we're going to monitor Puka Nacua and Tutu Atwell again. So those two guys right there, Puka and Tutu. If Cooper Kupp goes on IR, well, one, go check and see if Van Jefferson's available. He's going to be the guy that runs the most snaps and routes for the team. Not saying he's the best fantasy player, but I'm super intrigued with Tutu, but more specifically Puka Nacua. He's worth the stash because he could be a guy that just gets a lot of playing time. The Raiders, all in good health here for the Raiders. Nobody on fantasy we need to worry about. The Dolphins, it looks like Devon A-Chain's in full. Salvin Ahmed's in full. Teron Armstead's been ruled out. And then Jalen Waddle here, full, good to go for Waddle. Vikings, I think they're in good health. They did have a questionable Marcus Davenport, which will hurt their defense a little bit. With New England, we know it's Ramondre out with an illness. I think he's going to play. We got to watch for Devontae Parker. I'm also going to monitor Kendrick Bourne on Sunday to see if he's a big piece of the offense. For the Saints, it's all about Traquan Smith ruled out. Kendre Miller, questionable. The Giants, it's all about Darren Waller. Gary Brightwell, I'm not sure what's going on here, but Wan'Dale Robinson's doubtful with that knee injury. And right now, I think Darren Waller's going to play, though, so I wouldn't freak out. The Jets don't have enough news out, but I did see Breece Hall limited today. So if you have Breece Hall, I'm probably not starting him week one. I need to see what this backfield looks like. Same thing with Javonte and Perine. I don't want to start those guys. I want to see what the backfield looks like. It does look like the Eagles are in good health. I believe the Steelers are they're pretty much offense is near perfect. Seattle, Kenneth Walker's going to play, no injury designation, and Jackson Smith-Njigba was going to play. But a lot of people banged up here for Seattle, but most of these guys did get a full practice in today. Kenny McIntosh and Jamal Adams, the only guys ruled out already for Seattle. For San Francisco, we're watching George Kittle. That's really the only one here that we care about. Brock Purdy, locked and loaded, good to go. Love to see it. Tampa Bay, I think, is in good shape. Cody Mock, the guard here, questionable with back spasms, back-to-back DNP, so the offensive line might be limited a little bit. And then great news for the Titans. You got Treylon Burks back, DeAndre Hopkins in full. Titans offense looks fairly healthy. And then we'll finish it up here with the Washington Commanders. McLaurin back-to-back full. We're watching the health of Chase Young. So there you go, guys. We went a little bit extra today. We went 18 minutes. That's going to do it for me. If you guys want to check us out tomorrow morning on the Player Prop Show, please do that. I'm not talking about, start sits, though. We're purely just talking about player props and what we're looking at on DraftKings for betting, whether it's touchdowns, yards, whatever individual prop. So that's tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Central Time with Jesse. And then Sunday morning, that's where all the start sit questions will be answered. So otherwise, join our Discord, guys. I did put a link in the description. My Discord is there. That's where all the start questions can be asked if you need them. Otherwise, enjoy your Friday night. Don't think about football. Don't think about football on Friday night. We'll worry about football Saturday evening. That'll keep us up at night. Sunday morning, that's when we make our decision. So enjoy the Friday night. Take it easy, guys. Peace.